Welcome back. So on this video, the focus is on building a mileage calculator, right? As you can see here, I have my mileage calculator, and this mileage calculator is dependent on the data that is this side. So I've created a table here. This table consists of the clients that we usually visit, right? Let's say this organization, these are the clients that we always go to. Let's say maybe I do training in these companies. And then this side, as you can see, these are the miles or the kilometers to that particular client, right? So I have a table that is my client information there, right? And then what I want or what I have this side is, let's say now, let's say one of our employees visit this client, right? So they select, say, okay, I visited Norris Holdings. So once they select that particular client, this side on this side, you see, it responds and then it says, it shows that input, the input, it appears on this cell. So that's what we want. Let me show you what I mean again. So if, again, let's say maybe now it's a new colleague or it's a new employee that is visited or went to Gregory Supplies. So once they select Gregory Supplies on this cell, you see it changes. Gregory Supplies is on number 5. So whatever we click this side, especially on the client side here, the response, right? So this is the input here. I click that, I see the output, I see the results this side. So this means that this form is linked to this cell. So when we click this side, when we select any of these, the results come here. So we have linked this form to that side. So here we have also an option of choosing, because sometimes some of our employees, they use their own cars to visit a client, some they use company cars to go to a client. And then in our organization, there is a percentage that you get for when you're using a company car, and then there's a percentage mileage rate. There's a mileage rate for a own car and the mileage rate for a company car, right? So we want that, let's say this guy, one of our colleagues, when they visited Norris, we want that when they visited Norris and then they used company car, we want them to be able to select Norris and then, sorry, Norris and then select company car. And then now this cell here or this form here, it is linked, or the input, okay, when the output, when we click on this, the output will be seen where on this side, the car type. So as you can see here, once I select the company car, it becomes a 1. Once I select the personal car or own car, it must be a 2. Let me say own car, you can see it says 2. So that means now this form is linked to this cell, right? So I want to take you through that. And then here we have the number of journeys. So we say the number of journeys, one of our employees or one of our colleagues visited Young's, and then they use their own car, sorry, they use company car. And then how many journeys did they make? Let's say maybe they made 2, right? They went there and then they returned, right? So they made 2 journeys. So this form here, the button control or this pin button, you see, is linked to this cell. So the input, when I choose here, the output, I see it on this cell, right? And then we have like the VAT. Like sometimes you need to add the VAT, right, on some of the invoices or the forms. So this is how you create a VAT. So you use like a checkbox. So this checkbox, when they click it, you see, it must be false, or when they uncheck it, it must be false. When they check it, it must be true. So the results, or this cell or this checkbox, is linked to this part, this side. As you can see, the results appear here, the VAT. So the results, you can see now, must be false. I'm expecting to see a false that side. There is a false there, right? So we want to build this. We want to build our own mileage calculator. So we've seen how this is supposed to work out. So now we need to build it. We need to build our own mileage calculator. So what I will do, let me just copy this, Control C that, and then somewhere here I do Control V, right? And then I want to copy this, Control C, right? And then down here I do Control V, and then I also need these, Control C, and then somewhere here, maybe somewhere here, Control V, and then I expand that cell, right? Expand the cell, make it bigger, all right? And then mileage calculator, all right? So now we need to start with the client information, right? So we need to start with the client information. So we need to add uh, this form control, right? And then the form controls, you find them under developer tab. There's a developer tab. If developer tab on your site is not activated, you have to right click any of these tabs and then go to customize the ribbon. And then you will see here under the main tabs, you just have to check the box of the developer tab so that you can activate it. Because by default on most of the Excel version it's not activated. You have to activate it by checking this box. All right, so it's there. And then this side now we need to start with the forms because the developer tab is there now. And then where do we find the forms? We have to go to developer tab, and then there is a group called controls. This group, which is controls, and then down here you click on insert, and then we have the form controls. We have different form controls. So for our scenario, the first control that we're looking for is a control that will allow us to have a list of our clients. All right, so we have the list of our clients. I drop down list, and then I see which one will work. You have combo control. No, I want this one, list box form control, right? Because I have a list of companies that side, so I need this. So you select it, just click it, and then you come draw this side. You can just make it any size that you want it to be. So you can see I have it there, right? And then these controls allow you to resize this. You can resize this. And then now I need to link this uh, to this data here, right? Okay, so let me right click this and then say form control. So you right click inside the form control and then you'll see this menu. So the one that we're looking for is the form control, the option to add a link. So the form control, then you see this box here. So we have the input range. The input range, this is where the input is, like your data, your main data that we are going to be clicking here, right, which is the input range. So let's click on that, click on the cell selector. So you click on the cell selector, and then you'll be able to move across the worksheet. So you can see it takes me to this side, and then I highlight what, no, that's not what I want. I want only the names of the customers on that cell. So only this part will be relevant or becomes our input. And then cell selector, and then here on cell link, right, on the cell link, I want, now the cell link is for when you click or when you select any of these any of those companies, or all of any of those clients, where do you want the output to be at, right? So I click that. So when I select or when I choose any of these clients, I want the results to appear here. So this becomes my cell link. All right, this is where the output is going to. So the input range is this, and then the cell link, this is the way the output is going to be seen. So if I select Young's Inc., there must be a 2 there. If I select Gregory Supplies, there must be a 5 there. All right, say okay. All right, you can see here all of my clients are there. As I said that you can resize this. All right, so we have that there. And then the second one will be the number of journeys, right? So how many journeys did you make to this client that you've selected, the number of journeys? Okay, let's see, you have insert there. So insert, we're looking for the number to add the number of journeys, right? The number of journeys. And then this size, I think this size will do. And then here at the top, you can rename that to number of journeys. I can say number of journeys. So these are the number of journeys. How many journeys did I make to the client? How many times did I visit the client? All right, so you can see number of journeys there. But remember, we're looking for this spin button. So we want to add the spin button inside that form button, inside this group box. Okay, so we're looking for this, and I'm going to add it directly here. Again, you can draw it inside there. All right, you see I have it. So when I click here, I must be able to increase the number of journeys, like maybe from 2 to 3. When I click here, I must be able to drop down, like reduce the number of journeys, right? And then now we want the cell link or the output to be on this cell right next to the spin button. So let me click that, and then format control, and then the cell link, right? The cell link will be this one there. So the cell link will be the output cell. So when we click or when we input these values or we click any of these, where do you want the results to appear? We want the results to be there. Okay, let me say okay. Then you can see now, let me click on the side. I can see, click on this, reduces that, increase that number of journeys. So this is the spin pattern. So you can see now it's there. And then the next one will be the car type, right? So the car type, as you can see, we have these two patterns, like the, what do we call it? We call them the option pattern, right? The option pattern, they must be inside the group. They must be inside this group form, right? They must be inside the group form. So on this scenario here, I use the group form so that it can look nice. But when it comes to this, they must be on the group form, so that you, when you add two of them inside this, you won't be able to select both of them at the same time. So once you add them, then okay, let me just quickly show you what I mean there. So just add it there, right? Rename that, and then we just say car type. All right, car type, and then I want to add this option pattern there. Let me add the option pattern and then rename that. Let's make it a company car, and then add another one. Um, let's say own car, and then I want to align these two nicely there, so I can press Control, select that, and then select that, and then go to shape format. I want to align those, and then say left align. You can see aligns that. Okay, so now I said these two must be inside this group box, so that when I select this, and then when I try to select both of them at the same time, you can't select them because they are inside the group box, right? So that's the reason it's a must for them to be inside the group box. But for this side, I was just like putting it there so it can look nice or neat, but here it's a must, right? Because of that. All right, now we need to link these so that when the user or anyone select any of these, the car type, it appears here as 1 or 2. So 1 will be company car, 2 will be your own car. So let's link those. Right click those, right click any of these. Okay, let's start with the top one. Right click the top one, format control, and then cell link. Where do you want the output to go to once you select any of these? So we want the output to go to this side. That's the output. All right, and then press OK, and then we move to this one, and then also try to do the same. You see, you're noticing now when we like already it has been populated, right? Because these two are linked together. So this one knows, okay, since this one the output is this, so that means also the second one the output is to be this here. So because they are linked, okay, say okay. So we have managed to add these, right? So the user, let's verify if it's working fine. So now when I select Jones and Jones Limited on the cell this side, I'm expecting to see one. Let's say Jones and Jones is selected. I'm expecting to see one here. You can see on the client because this is our output cell. All right. And then here, when I select company car, I'm expecting to see one that side on car type. You see on car type, there is one. All right. And then we're left with one, which is the VAT. Okay. Let's add the VAT developer tab. And then, so on the VAT, we're just adding the checkbox. There is a checkbox at the top there. All right. Let's say add VAT. There we are. All right. And then now we've added the VAT. So when I click on it, when I select it, oh, let's link it first. All right. Click it and then format control. When you select it, we want the output to appear on this part here. And then press OK. All right. And then now uncheck that. I want to see now must be false that side. See, it's false now. All right, so it's working fine. All right. And then when it comes to Mars for client, right? Mars for client. This means now we want to do some calculations here, Mars for client. So if the user selects this, right, or selects that, it must be a 2. And then when it becomes a 2, we want here to appear the mileage to young inks, right? So we're going to use a VLOOKUP. So we're going to use VLOOKUP so that when the user selects any of these, this side the VLOOKUP will use, this one becomes our lookup value and says, and then this one becomes our table array. So this will be our table array, right? And then when they select Jones that side, we see, okay, Jones is 76 kilometers to Jones, or 76 miles to Jones. And then here when they select Norris Holdings, it's 66. So that's what's supposed to appear that side. And then in order for us to be able to retain these kilometers or these miles here, we need to use a VLOOKUP on this cell. So we're going to say equal sign VLOOKUP. So VLOOKUP, and you can see the lookup value, which one? The lookup value, we find it this side, right? You can see on the formula bar here it changes data, and an exclamation mark because I'm on the data page. So this cell becomes our lookup value. A9 becomes our lookup value because when they select any of these companies, the output is this one. So this becomes our output cell, or this becomes our lookup value for the VLOOKUP. And then the table array, I'm going to highlight the entire table there. Then comma, the column index. So column index represents the column where there is the value that you want to retain. So column number 1, column number 2, column number 3. So I'm looking for the miles, the kilometers, right? I want to retain the kilometers. So if they are on column number 3 on this table array. All right, number 3 there. And then VLOOKUP with an option of exact match or approximate. On our scenario, we're looking for an exact match, and then exact match, you represent that by false, and then hit enter. So you can see now it's 66 because Norris Holdings is selected. Let's check that. Norris Holdings, see 66 miles. Let's change now, select a different client. Gregory Supplies, right? Let's see, it says 87. Let's check this side here. There's 5, and then Gregory Supplies is 87. So you can see now it's working. If I change again, do one more verification, Norris Holdings 66. You can see there it is. All right, so that's the first one there. And then total miles will be this, right, times the number of journeys, right? So it will be the kilometers to that particular client, and then how many kilometers did you travel to that client, right? How many times did you go to that client? So it's going to be this cell times this cell. So total miles will be the miles to the client, which is 66 there, times how many times did you go to that client. You can see there. All right. And then the mileage rate, we said the mileage rate is dependent on the type of car that you use. Did you use your did you use company car? Did you use your own car? So that's the mileage rate there. So I'll say equal sign. Here we're going to use an if statement, right? Because we have we're going to say if company car, the company car, the mileage rate is 0.15. If you're using your own car, it's going to be 0.4, right? 0.4. So let's say if the rate, so we're saying if logical test, we know that once you select any of these, the results are this side. So let's move to this side, which is the car type there. If B9, if this part is equals to 1, we said this is company car, and put a comma. We said if it's a company car, it's going to be 0. We said 15, right? And then value if false, put a comma, and then you see value false. We're saying if value false, that means it's your own car, right? Then it becomes 0.4. So here some Excel version that require you to add a full stop instead of the comma. On my side, mine requires me to add a comma. So if you get any error message, just add a comma there, or switch around between the comma and the and the full stop. And then the other thing is the separators here. You can see the logical test, there's a semicolon on my side. So you have to look at your Excel version and see which one it takes. Some it requires a comma instead of a semicolon. So you look at here the arguments and then check the separator. Which separator are they using there? All right, and then press enter. So you can see it's 0.15 because company car is selected. Let me see if I switch to own car, 0.4. You can see that, right? And then total mileage now. Total mileage will be mileage rate times total miles. So total mileage is going to be total miles times mileage rate, right? So that's the total mileage, going to be that times that. And then the VAT now, we're going to use again an if statement. So if this is true, right? If VAT is supposed to be added, that means the user will check this box. So if VAT is supposed to be added, right? If VAT is added, so we go to this side, then click the, if VAT is equals to true, that means the user have selected that cell, right? You've checked the VAT box. So comma, value if true, we're saying now, come back here, we're saying now it's gonna be this, right, times 20%. So VAT is 20%. So we're adding VAT if it is selected here, if this box is checked. But if this box is not checked, then it becomes it's just a zero, it's fine. And then put a comma and then close that. You can see now VAT is not selected, so that's why it's a zero. But if it's checked, it's supposed to give us the 8, that 20% there, you can see. All right, and then total claimed. So total claimed will be this plus that. And then we close it. All right, there is that plus that. We have an answer there, right? So let me just put that into, all right. And then now I just want to make this look nicer. Let me just put it in a box, do some, all right, so put it there. And then the other thing that we can do is I can click here and then I do that. All right, so you can see now I have my mileage calculator there. I have my mileage calculator. Right, so this is how you create the patterns there. I hope this was informative. Hope to see you in my next video.